Hi, everyone. This is Mark Plunkett, the pastor of Heritage Presbyterian Church. This is our weekly devotional. I just finished preaching on September 12th and talked a lot about the 9/11 remembrances. And of course, last Saturday, we had all those remembrances on television, all the videos, all the interviews with the different people. And one of the things that I heard, and one of the things that I talked about in my sermon yesterday, was remembering how afraid all of us were, how scared we were, because those towers had been hit and it just kind of came out of the blue. And the Pentagon had been hit, and that other plane would have hit the Capitol if those people on board hadn't heroically brought the plane down. It caught us all by surprise. And when we're surprised as a nation, like we were at Pearl Harbor, like we've had happened a few times before, the stock market crash in 1929, things like that. Afterwards, experts can always say, well, we should have paid attention to this, or we should have seen that, or there were always mixed signals. But that doesn't take away from the way that many of us felt, most of us felt, in fact, scared. We were scared for ourselves, we were scared for our country, and we were scared for our children, especially our children. I remember going in the night after 9/11 happened, after my children were asleep, and just looking at them and just praying that God would keep them safe, because I love my children so much and I didn't want anything to happen to them. And that prayer was granted. But of course, anything could happen again. We know that. We know that. I think the pandemic was a surprise. I think it came out of nowhere. I think it scared us too. But one of the things that I learned when I was in seminary, and I learned this one particular thing really, really well. I had the most wonderful language professor for Hebrew and for Greek. His name was Jack. And Jack taught with a smile on his face and with true joy in his heart. And every time he gave us a test, every single time he gave us a test in the Greek class, he always said, nephabu, nephabu. And that's from the Greek, and it shows up a couple of times in the New Testament. One of the times is when Gabriel appeared to Mary. And what he was saying was in Greek, nephabu, but what he was saying was, don't be afraid. Fear not. Fear not. I'm an angel of the Lord. I've come to bring you a message. And Mary was not afraid. But one of the other times it showed up was when Jesus was born in Bethlehem, and the angels appeared to the shepherds, and the shepherds were terrified. They were really, really scared. And what did the archangel say? Gabriel, he said, fear not, nephabu. Don't be afraid. Folks, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be afraid. As I saw on my favorite Western television show, Gunsmoke, Marshal Matt Dillon said one time, man that's never afraid, he's a fool. And that's true. If you're never afraid, you're a fool. There's plenty to be afraid of. But ultimately, what we have to remember, what we have to hold on to, what we have to believe and cling to fiercely is that God will take care of us. God will take care of us. We may have a terrible life on this planet. We may have terrible things happen to us. We may be scared, and it may not turn out right. But in the end, ultimately, if we believe in Jesus, if we trust in Him, if we try the best we can to obey the commandments, and especially to obey the last commandment He gave us, to love one another, we will be saved. We will be with Him for eternity. We won't have anything to be scared of. So, nephabu, my friends, if you can, don't be scared, or at least know that Jesus is always there.